I was listening to an actual play podcast with 8 people. Oh, sweet goodness. They're doing work upstairs, so this episode might be riddled with extra noises. Like, literally as soon as we slated, like, they've been walking around and, like, looking at stuff, but they just started using, like, a buzzsaw or something, so... Which they were not doing before, but, oh, well.
Welcome everyone to Afterthoughts. This is a podcast where we rewatch movies, we compare our first and second impressions of those movies, and discuss a related topic. My name is Joshua Kizemi, and I'm here with my co-host, Coleman Taylor.
Hello.
That one's kind of new.
I know, I'm trying to change it up, you know.
Good.
Saying that's me
like that.
For a million episodes, just, it's not going to cut it anymore.
I understand. This week we are talking about 1999's The Mummy, in honor of The Mummy remake with Sir Tom Cruise. And it's going to be a fun one, I think. Before we dive into our first and second impressions of The Mummy, Coleman, do you want to take us through the plot of The Mummy? And try to say The Mummy as many times as you can?
Yeah. So The Mummy, no. So the movie opens up with Pharaoh and his mistress and his high priest or whatever he is, Imhotep, and no one is supposed to touch the Pharaoh's mistress, whatever. And Imhotep and her are, you know, and so Pharaoh's furious about it, and they kill him. But somehow Imhotep runs away, which we can talk about that in this episode, and the mistress kills herself in front of all of Pharaoh's guards, and then Imhotep later tries to revive her, but he was followed by Pharaoh's bodyguards, who then kill him in a ridiculous way that makes no sense. We'll get to that too. And then, years later, those people have been protecting his grave, but now people found their way to the city, and Brendan Fraser's there trying to get into it too, but also protect it. Who knows? But this big fight happens, and he survives and runs off, and later ends up in prison where Evie, what's her real name again? Rachel?
Evelyn?
Yes.
Oh, Rachel Weisz, yeah.
Finds him in jail because they found a key on him to something that they don't know what it is, but they know it's the lost city that everyone's been looking for. So he's like, I'll take you there if you get me out of prison. I'll take you there if you get me out of prison. And so they go there, race there with Americans, and find some secret stuff. Turns out there's a secret mummy there and a book they're not supposed to read. Oh, they read it, and he comes back to life. And he's chasing them to revive his body and revive his mistress. And they're running away from him and trying to figure out how to defeat him. I was kind of all over the place.
That's great. And I think it proves, you know, it speaks to, like, why would you ever remake this movie? It's perfect.
Well, also...
that plot is flawless.
Not just that. You know, this was a remake, right?
I did not know that.
It's loosely based on an older mummy movie where some people do the same thing. They revive a mummy named Imhotep.
Oh, wow. I didn't think this was the first movie about mummies, but I did not know it was loosely based on something else.
Yep.
Wow.
So I'm sure they took a ton of their own liberties, but yes, it's quote-unquote a remake, which I'm sure, just like the Tom Cruise one, is a quote-unquote remake. It's completely different mummy and stuff, so.
So, did you see this in 1999?
No, I saw this much later. I hated scary movies when I was a kid. They're still not my favorite either. There was like a phase that I liked scary movies, like kind of late middle school, early high school. I was like, yeah, scary movies. And that was it. Before then and after, it's like, if there's a good one, I might go see it. I don't even know if I'd go see them now. I don't like them. What about you? Did you see it in 99?
Absolutely. I saw it. I saw it in 99, and my family and I have seen it so many times. We've rewatched this movie so many times. I know this movie pretty well, and I loved it. When it first came out, I thought it was funny and action-packed. I thought it was scary. It was this cool adventure, and the effects were awesome, and I just loved everything about it. Really did.
Oh man, I'm waiting in anticipation for your
Yep.
your.
And I had no idea how this would hold up this week. Like, no idea. It's been a while since I've rewatched it, you know, but I really wasn't sure. A part of me thought it was still going to be awesome. Another part was like, I wonder how, like, the jokes hold up, how the effects hold up. I wasn't even thinking about characters or plot. I was just like, those are solid. I know that. We can just push that aside. It's just jokes and effects I think are going to be weird. And I, you know, obviously, we'll get into it. I was wrong. But I even liked the sequels. Just one of the sequels. I liked The Mummy Returns. I didn't see the third one with Jet Li or the Rock spinoff.
See, this is something I realized in rewatching this. I have seen The Mummy Returns and Scorpion King both like 1,000 times. This one, I realized I don't think I had actually sat down and watched like the first 30 minutes to the first half of this movie before. Like, wow. It had definitely been on, and I've definitely seen the second half and on for sure. But before that, there were so many parts of this movie I was like, I don't remember that at all. And I don't think I ever like got this movie, put it in the like whatever VCR, DVD player, whatever it was at the time, and just like sat and watched it. I think one time it was on, and I loosely paid attention to the first half, and then like just straight up watched the second half. It was either on TV or something, but there were parts in the beginning that I did not remember. I really only remember when they make it to the city, Habanatra or whatever it's called, and beyond. Like as soon as they get there and beyond. Maybe even from like the boat on. I'd say from the boat on is what I remember very clearly. Before that, I just remember like bits and pieces.
Yeah. And the first chunk of it's a big chunk of the movie without the mummy.
Oh yes.
So I feel like it's understandable that you wouldn't remember stuff that happens before, like the whole point of the movie, the mummy, right. The namesake.
But I genuinely don't think I didn't remember the flashback. I didn't remember like any of it. I did remember that his priests got mummified alive because that always freaked me out. But that was it. Yeah. There were so many blank spots. But The Mummy Returns, I've seen so many times.
Wow.
Like a year from now.
The Mummy Returns, I feel like only once or twice I saw it.
See, it might be because The Mummy was like this super like scary one, while The Mummy Returns it's got kind of some scary stuff in there, but it's more of like straight up an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's why I saw that one a lot more. Because me and my brothers would just kind of put those two, that and Scorpion King, on and watch them for fun.
That's awesome.
From what I do remember of this movie, I did think it was super... Specifically, the dude who gets his eyes and tongue ripped out freaked me out as a kid.
Yep.
And I just remember it being a lot darker. Because I always compared it to The Mummy Returns since I've seen that so many times. And I always remember this one being much darker. And I remember people liking this one better, I think. Mm-hmm. But I do remember it being scary and fun, like had funny parts, all of those things. And as a kid, I didn't think any part of it was really that bad as a kid. Obviously, I only remember the second half, but from what I did remember, I just remember being scary, funny, and like the effects were good. It was 99. We'll give them that. But yeah, I remember enjoying it for what it was.
Did you think it was going to hold up?
I honestly didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know either. I really had no idea.
I had no clue.
I feel like most weeks on the podcast, I feel like I know pretty well how things are going to go. There's obviously like little details I'll pick up on that I could never anticipate, but like the general impression, I feel like I have some idea of how it's going to go. For this one, I really was like lost. I had no idea what was going to happen or how I was going to feel about it.
I thought it was going to hold up at least kind of well, and then just like things that have dated would be bad.
Right.
I guess that's kind of what I expected.
Should we jump into seconds?
Yeah, I was about to say, I guess we can find out.
Right. Okay.
What do you think?
I honestly, like, I feel dumb for saying it. And I was sort of embarrassed when I watched it with Molly to admit this, because she was like, I mean, she watched it for the first time this week. And so it's so much cheesier than I remember it ever being. And I cannot, it's so cheesy that I can't believe I never realized how cheesy it was. And I think some of it is like kind of charming now because it's not super cringy, but there is a lot of really cringy, really cheesy stuff. And it's just like, man, is it a movie from 1999? Like you could sit someone down and have them watch it for the first time and have them guess the year, and I'm pretty sure they'd get, if not close, they would get it exactly right. What did you think?
This movie is so bad. Oh my gosh. There were like no redemptive qualities for this movie.
Man.
I mean, Brendan Fraser's kind of great. It's funny to see him. He's so cheesy.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I wouldn't suggest go watch it just for that. It fell apart in so many ways. So many things that the part where the dude gets his eyes ripped out and his tongue ripped out was laughable. I laughed this time. The part that used to like terrify me as a child, he just like, it's like funny that he can't talk and his eyes don't really, like the editing is so bad.
And he spills a cup of tea.
And then when they look drained, they look completely fake. They don't look real at all. It's so bad. There was one part where me and Jake, the part where the locusts first come, after they first awaken the mummy, and all the locusts come, and they all land on that guy, and he just stares at the camera and says, What have we done? Me and Jake audibly laughed at that part. It was so bad.
I kept laughing at everything he did because I just kept thinking, you're the dad from Jumanji.
Oh my gosh.
That's awesome. So I feel I wrote that I think it's so much cheesier and so much worse than I remember it being, but I still enjoyed it on some level. And not enjoy it as like a terrible movie to watch and enjoy, but I think some of it is still cool. It's
like what?
It's rough. Like it's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It's interesting that the movie starts out with so much of Imhotep, like it's all from his perspective. It's that flashback, because he's essentially the antagonist, but we get a huge backstory for him, and we know his motives are crystal clear, and it sort of opens up this door for us to sympathize with him. But that's what I'm saying. I like that they did that in the beginning, but it never comes back. We never have a moment to really sympathize with him in the rest of the movie. He is just this villain for the rest of the movie.
When he's trying to revive his mistress, what's her name? Anck-Sun-Moon, and they kill her, he's pretty sad about that.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not. He's done too many bad things at that point. You know, it's like he's too far gone as a villain. I'm not going to feel bad for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's filled with stuff like that. Like, I remember really liking these characters, but this time around, they're so exaggerated. They're such like caricatures, and there's so many cheesy little bits. Like when they're introducing characters, there's so many little things that are like really terrible. Like the library thing is almost fun, but it's just it's so on the nose. The domino thing of all of the
ridiculous
columns falling, or like when they're on the boat and Brendan like whips out all of his guns and he's like cleaning them in front of Evie. It's like, it's too much, man. And and I never really noticed this before either, but Brendan Fraser is just trying to be Han Solo. It's like so blatant. That's all that he's trying to be. And he's funny because he's not, but it's also kind of painful to watch someone try to be Harrison Ford and Han Solo. And
Is he being Han Solo or Indiana Jones?
Oh, sure. Yeah, either one. I mean, they're the same.
No, I don't. I think he is being more Han Solo just in the setting of Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But even Jonathan, her like brother, who I always thought was the hilarious part of the movie, just wasn't as fun. And I guess we thought it was funny before that he didn't care, but I kind of was upset that even if he's like joking, he anytime something about his sister or something being wrong or something happening to us, he just does not care. And that kind of bothered me this time. Also, the movie kind of hinges on this. Why is Imhotep a mummy that can come back from the dead?
Yeah, I wrote this down as well. But then they do answer it, kind of. But so
Go on.
They just wanted to give him the worst punishment for what he's done. It just happens to be that the worst punishment is a curse. And it's like, because it's so bad, the consequence is this person could be brought back. And if they are brought back, they'll bring about the worst thing that could ever happen to the world or whatever.
And what is the curse again?
That he comes back as a mummy? That he could come back as a mummy?
Hold on, that's the curse? So the worst curse is also the fact that he can come back.
Yes. Like, it's
that makes
excruciating.
No sense.
It's an excruciating process, but it also means that he could come back as a mummy.
What's excruciating about the process?
Well, they buried him alive and took out all his stuff. Couldn't they just have
buried him alive?
No, I mean, they mummified him. Like, that's the process. They mummified him, which is excruciating, and it means that he could come back as a mummy.
Oh, hold on. What you're saying makes no sense. And this is exactly how I felt about the movie, too. If they mummified him, they took his brains out through his nose.
Right.
And they cut out his organs. But he was very much still alive. It looked like they only cut off his tongue.
Yeah, that's what it looks like for sure in the movie.
See, here's what I thought. Here's what I was expecting. Which I guess I don't know why I expected this, because I knew when they opened the sarcophagus, he didn't just come right back alive. But I kind of expected it would keep him, like he would be dead and alive at the same time. So like those bugs would just keep eating him forever, and then he would just be stuck in the sarcophagus alive dead forever. But it runs the risk of it being open. But no, he just died. He just died. They could have just killed him. That's it.
Yeah. When that happened, I wrote down, like, is it really worth it? Like, he goes through a lot of pain, but you know that he could come back and destroy the world. So is it worth it? And I guess they thought, we won't be around, so who cares? But
also, on top of that, couldn't the same amount of pain happen without putting that curse on him?
Yeah, probably.
They could have just half mummified him without killing him and then threw him in a sarcophagus alive with bugs.
Yeah, I feel like you just throw him in the thing with bugs and that's fine. That's, like, terrible.
Also, on top of that, they specifically mentioned that, the bugs ate him very slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I wrote that down.
The bugs ate him? And they're like, yes, ate him very slowly. And then you see a dude fall and the bugs eat him in 0.5 seconds.
Immediately. Like, they were maybe instructed to eat Imhotep slowly. I know you guys are fast, but this guy did something really bad. So if you could, take your time. Yeah, I wrote that down. It's terrible.
So that part of the movie really, really bothered me, especially because the whole movie kind of like hinges on the fact that he's a mummy that can come back to life. And this curse makes no sense. Whatever. Second part of the movie that really bugged me was just Evie in general. Yeah. And I guess it's because I've watched The Mummy Returns so much, which, again, I haven't seen really since I was a kid, so even what I remember could be different. But at least from what I remember of The Mummy Returns, she's like this really adventurous girl who like just goes out there and gets it. And this one, she's like this like timid, and she's like, "Why did you kiss me again? Even though you forcefully kissed me, but I want to know why." And then he's like, "Oh, I just did it." And she like walks off, and he's like, "It's so stupid." And the fact that she's the one that ends up like reading the book and causing all of these things. Like, all these other people do all of these terrible things and nothing really happens, but then she steals one book and just wants to gain knowledge from it and ends up waking up the mummy. Oh, I don't know. Just everything about Evie in this movie bugged me.
Yeah, she could have been she's supposed to be this super knowledgeable woman or whatever, but like, so she should have been the one who was like, no, we shouldn't read from the book. This is something bad's going to happen if we read from the book, instead of being the one that like trips the wire,
reads the book.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree. That's the thing. That's another thing. It's like I almost like a lot of these characters, but they're all way too exaggerated. Like, the group of Americans are terrible, and they're so.
Oh, I know.
It's ridiculous, like how cheesy they are, and like there's some and there's things like how the diggers are completely expendable. They're always the ones that die. It's like, I understand why you think you need to do that, but you did it like 7 times. So by the time, I think the last one is the guy that falls in the bugs and gets eaten. It's like, that's hilarious. It's not, it's not scary. It's just hilarious.
I know.
Golly. The movie treats its characters like they're like little puppets. It's crazy.
You know who I did love, though, and I don't know why? I think it's just because he commits to what he is and stays it the whole time. Benny. I loved Benny. I don't know why.
Benny.
He's just such a coward, and then is a coward throughout the whole movie, and just the way it shows up. Yeah. Even the part with, like, the necklaces, where he brings out, like, you think he just has a cross one, and then he has, like, an infinite amount.
That is...
obviously not an infinite, but...
that is my favorite Benny moment. It has always been. For, like, 18 years of this movie, that has always been my favorite Benny moment. He just recites every religion's prayer to see which one the mummy will react to. It's great. That's very funny.
So good.
The thing that was kind of crazy to me, that kind of ruins Benny for me a little bit, which is unfortunate. For all the rewatches of this movie, I loved Benny. I thought he was very funny and like almost like a pretty well written character to go back and forth between like he does sort of have a relationship with Brendan Fraser on some genuine level, but he's very selfish, and this back and forth I liked, but I did not know until this rewatch that is an American actor in terrible makeup. I had no idea. I never knew that.
I mean, I never knew that either, but he's got a terrible accent.
Yes, and the accent is bad too. And I just did not know that as a kid or think about it or care. But now it's like, oh man, that's real bad.
But isn't that kind of awesome, right? No, it's not.
What did you think of the special effects?
They were terrible. I mean, it's not fair, because if you compare it to other movies that came out in 99, I think it would be around the same level.
Like Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest was 99, and we had that big rock monster in Galaxy Quest. I think The Mummy is just a hair above that.
Really?
Yes, but still pretty bad. It's bad for now, but I think it's not... it doesn't seem super terrible for 99.
It doesn't seem... I don't know, though, but when specifically, the part I think of is when both times he's trying to revive a Nux on a Moon looks so bad to me. So bad. That little black fog that comes up, whatever it is
bad.
Looks terrible. And this time, I guess it's because I was expecting so much from the scene, but the eye sockets on that dude who gets his eyes ripped out look so fake. All of it looks so bad to me. And even when that dude is floating in the air and Imhotep's like sucking his soul out or whatever, and it's just his shadow you see on the wall and he becomes skinny, that looks like something straight out of Peter Pan or something.
But right after that, when he walks out and he's like 3/4 ready, you know, and his cheek is exposed and the little bug crawls through his cheek and then he chews on it, I think that looks pretty awesome for 99.
Does it? Because I thought it looked really bad. I guess for 99 it's good, but if you look closely, that little hole on his cheek has a hard time staying in the same spot on his cheek. That's all I'm saying.
Oh jeez. Are there any positive takeaways from this movie for you?
I mean, it's still kind of funny.
There you go.
That's it. That's pretty much it. I would not go like, let's watch The Mummy ever again. I don't think I would ever have like a craving to watch this movie again.
I feel like I might at some point, just a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
But I have two things that I did like, and they are pretty superficial. It's just that I like the look of it, the look and feel of it. It feels like a period piece, and I like that. It almost looks like it's like Lawrence of Arabia or something, and I like that. And then, as much as I hate subtitles, I do like that when people in this movie should be speaking another language, they are, and there are subtitles. Because it is like, worse than subtitles is like when a German soldier in World War II is speaking English in Germany.
What if it's an entire movie of German soldiers speaking English? Is that fine? Just so you're not reading an entire movie in German?
I don't know.
That's not how that goes. Reading subtitles the whole movie?
I don't know. It's like Inglourious Bastards, I think, is great at knowing when to use subtitles and when not to. And there are whole segments of that movie with subtitles, and it's fine because it's great.
That's it. That's your positive for the movie, though. Oh, there's subtitles when there should be subtitles. That there's sometimes subtitles when there should be.
Yes, I like that characters who should be speaking another language do.
Like, I feel like if you were writing a review over this movie, that wouldn't even get half a star.
Oh man!
Don't ever watch this movie, everyone. Unless you've never seen it, it's kind of iconic.
Yeah. If
But
you're gonna go watch the remake, I would say this is fun to watch. If you don't care about the Tom Cruise remake, then you don't have to care about this either, I think.
I would only ever go watch this if you just want a good laugh at how bad a movie is. I don't. Don't expect any good things out of this movie.
Should I read off our Twitter poll for The Mummy?
Yeah, do it.
All right, so I posted this poll on Twitter, and our great fans on Twitter came to something call to action.
Wait, what? I don't even know what you're saying right now. This is
I'm
great
trying
radio.
to find
great
it
radio.
while I'm talking at the same time. It's not easy. Okay, so I wrote The Mummy ... 3 options. Option 1 is Brendan Fraser-rific. Option 2, deserved to be remade. And option 3 is I don't like sand, it's coarse.
Oh gosh.
I wanted to fit in the whole thing, but you only have a certain number of letters. So, 56% of people said that it's Brendan Fraser-rific.
Yeah, they did.
11% said deserved to be remade. And 33% said I don't like sand, it's coarse.
Oh gosh.
So should we go into topic time?
Let's do it.
All right. So today we're just going to talk about the Mummy franchise in general. Yeah. Are you excited about the Tom Cruise Mummy?
Okay. So is this Mummy movie coming out actually a remake / reboot / whatever?
No, because it's modern day, so it could be a continuation of this story, but it's a completely different Mummy. So I don't know. I don't think
that's why I feel
they're
like
connected.
I don't think so either. I don't think it's anything. I think they're just making another Mummy movie that happens to be called The Mummy.
No, but I think if you look it up, it says that it's a remake.
Yeah, it is a reboot of the Mummy franchise
Yeah.
and the first installment in the Dark Universe film series. That's so stupid. Whatever.
Dark Universe? I did not know that's what that universe was called.
Well, now you know.
All these monsters
it's on
or whatever?
Wikipedia, so...
Great.
Do you want to know what all the monsters are?
Sure.
The Mummy.
Mm-hmm.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Right.
Untitled Creature from the Black Lagoon film. Untitled Invisible Man film. Untitled Van Helsing film. Untitled Wolfman film.
Oh, boy.
We've got that to look forward to, so...
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how, if it's part of this new Dark Universe, that it's considered a reboot of the Mummy franchise. It doesn't make any sense.
I think it's just that they wanted to say The Mummy, and they owned the previous franchise. So it's just a reboot in the sense that the same studio is trying to make another Mummy movie.
That I feel like that doesn't qualify as a reboot in my mind.
Who knows? Maybe the female mummy in the movie is Imhotep or something. I don't know.
I feel like they say her name in the trailer, though.
Oh, I've only seen the trailer like once. It was the teaser. I haven't watched any others.
I'm also just not interested in another Mummy movie as well.
Mm.
And with Tom Cruise in it, that just seems such a weird casting call.
Well,
I'm not sure I'll like Tom Cruise in a Mummy movie.
See, I'm on the opposite end of that.
Oh, gosh.
Because I wasn't super interested in a Mummy remake when I heard about it. But I guess there's two things that are sort of interesting to me. I think it's interesting that Tom Cruise is in it because he's ridiculous and he makes for really fun movies because of his ridiculousness. And I'm interested in the fact that it's the beginning of a universe because... Do you really think Tom Cruise is going to stick around for this cinematic monster universe? Like, is he going to be in other movies?
But also, is it going to be like that? Is it going to be...
I don't know.
Because it makes me wonder if it's going to be like the Marvel Cinematic Universe that has all these characters coming together, or is it just all in the same universe but completely separate stories?
Then what's the point of them, like... being in a universe if they're completely isolated stories?
Because they're all related, though. They're just in different things going on at different times.
So it's like the idea is the world is crazy and it's filled with these supernatural crazy creatures, and each one of these movies is just a different scenario on the same planet Earth.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Although Tom Cruise assembling some sort of monster fighting Avengers team that has to fight all the monsters you listed sounds awesome.
That is true. Also, I'm looking through the cast right now, And Russell Crowe is cast in it right now as Dr. Henry Jekyll.
He's Jekyll in this mummy movie?
That's what it looks like. That's what it says right here.
Great.
Which also, none of the movies I listed had a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde movie, so I guess he's just in it. This gets weirder and weirder. I don't understand.
This is something that I'm going to keep a close eye on, I think. I might not see any of these movies, but I'm going to see what's happening over there.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
I don't know. I have such strange feelings about this. Even when I first saw the trailer, I was just like, this is weird. This doesn't feel right. This is weird.
It doesn't look like the fun that's had in a Mission Impossible movie, which is kind of what I want. So yeah, I don't know. This probably feels like, I feel like they're trying to play it a little too straight, and they should embrace how sort of ridiculous it is to have Tom Cruise in a mummy movie. So I don't know. I guess we'll see if that's what they end up doing. And
not only that, the small semblances of what still remains good in the old mummy movies is that it's kind of funny. Like, there are some funny parts, and it's a little goofy. This just feels like it's straight up going to be like an action, serious mummy movie, but it's a mummy being brought back from I don't know. It feels weird. And just like you said, it feels too straight, like a straight up, because it doesn't feel like a horror movie. It feels this, because even in the trailer, you see her like destroying an entire city. So it's like grander than just a horror movie, but at the same time feels too straight. Like, I wouldn't want this to just be like an action movie where he's going against a mummy or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have my extreme doubts. If it gets really good reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, I guess I'll just eat my words. But for now, I am not excited about it.
So that brings me to a question I have for you. What would you, if you were given the keys to I can't say it, the Mummy remake, what would you do with it? What's interesting to you?
Throw them away.
We're just
Let's
done
not
with
make
it.
this. Let's make something new. But if they were like, no, you absolutely have to. Maybe like a coming of age King Tut movie. He comes back to life and has to find himself. I don't know.
Interesting.
I'm just kidding. I seriously don't know. I wouldn't want to just do the same thing that they've already done, though. Some action adventure movie with a mummy. I'd want to do something different.
Uh-huh.
Why? What would you do?
I think
is this exactly what you would do?
This is pretty close, but I think I would have the same actor who played Imhotep come back to reprise his role, but it's modern day, and he comes back on Halloween, and he's walking around as a mummy, and there are other people dressed up as mummies, and he starts, he's like kind of lost and confused. He's like, what are these other mummies? You're not a mummy. And then he goes up and he's following some kids around who he thinks are other mummies, and then he goes up and trick-or-treats at a door or whatever, and it's just like this quirky, fun comedy. Imhotep as a mummy in modern day.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah, he he Snapchats with the kids and is on people's stories and all that stuff.
And is he coming back as like a full mummy this time? Does he have his skin again? I mean, doesn't he have to eat people to get his skin?
He does. So I think the conflict in this movie is that he grows to love modern day human culture, and he has to stay alive by eating people, but he sort of can't bring himself to do it.
So he's just a dead mummy walking around.
Yeah.
Not wanting to eat people.
Yeah. And then November 1st rolls around and everyone's freaking out because it's not a costume.
That was real? Oh my goodness.
That's what I would do, I think. And it's the start of the monster cinematic universe, obviously.
Obviously. Clearly.
No, I don't really know how to make this interesting today.
But I think I'll keep a close eye on it as well, just to see where, I will be very surprised and slightly more interested if it really does get, astounding reviews. I think if it just gets okay, normal reviews, that's kind of what I'll expect, and then I think I just won't like it because of what it is. But if it gets up in the 90% range, then I'll be surprised and maybe be interested.
Yeah, I guess we sort of have to, or at least for me, I feel like I gotta play like a long-term sort of game of like checking in on this, because I think the point of a cinematic universe is to have a movie that culminates in all that stuff. And so if they're just going to do what we described, it's just all these stories that happen on the same planet Earth, but they don't really connect, then I feel like what's the point? I mean, it's kind of interesting, I guess, but that's kind of the whole point, I think, of a cinematic universe, is to have a movie where Tom Cruise and all the other leads of all these other projects come together and do something. So that's what I hope they're going to do. I guess we'll see.
But for now, you should go back and watch The Scorpion King. Let me know what you think. See The Rock
Tweet
at
at
his
us,
roots,
let us
you know?
All right, should I read off? We got some tweets about our movie from last week, Superman Returns. Should I read off those?
Yeah, read them off.
All right. So at Following Films said, reboot, nostalgia porn. I think this movie marks everything wrong with modern blockbuster filmmaking.
Nice.
Yep. Epic Film Guy says, I love this movie, in all caps, with a couple exclamation points. I like that contrast, you know?
Yeah.
The Canvas chat says, I remember having such high hopes, ...
Sorry.
Absolutely. And finally, Monday Project KGRG said, just wanted to see Superman punch something, or at least be less of a creepy stalker ex-boyfriend.
That's awesome.
I think all 4 tweets equally valid.
Yep. Oh, but that's so true. He is such a creepy stalker ex-boyfriend.
He really, really is. He flies over to the house and uses his X-ray vision and listens to an entire conversation. Come on, bro.
But he's Superman. He can do what he wants.
Oh, man. So y'all listeners out there, if you got some thoughts on any of the movies that we cover, send them our way. We'll read them off. And thank you for these 4 for tweeting at us.
Just send us your tweets. Send us your tweets.
Is that the show?
I think that's the show.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody. We really appreciate it. If you want to continue to support the podcast, it'd be great if you could send this with a friend. With a friend. Yes. Share the podcast with a friend to a third friend. That'd be great.
Just with all your friends.
Oh, gosh. Next week, we are talking about Cars, right?
Cars.
The original Cars, 2006. Let us know what you think about Cars. Let us know what you think about The Mummy. You can find our Twitter. I'm so off today.
Yeah,
Twitter
you were just
handles in the description. Tweet at us. We'll read it. It'll be great. I think that's about everything. We appreciate your listenership. You can write us a review on iTunes if you want. That'd be great too. Bam. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening, everybody.
See y'all.
See ya.